Now, let's talk about some of the ways students can make distance classes easier for themselves. First, it's important to be organized, to be prepared for class. Then, during class, students should try to ask questions. Sometimes the push-to-talk microphones are intimidating, but asking questions keeps you involved. It's also helpful to sit where students can see the teacher and the teacher can see them. That's important because when students have questions, they can raise their hands and be called on. With some forms of distance education, students are able to see and hear the teacher at the same time, but in other cases, the teacher can't see them. The students sit near the telephone so they can easily call to ask questions. This isn't the case, of course, with the ICN, but in either case, you really have to try to be part of the class in order to learn the most. It's also helpful if students get a chance to handle the classroom equipment. They get to see how easy the equipment is to use, and this makes it more likely that they will use the equipment later and maybe have a better attitude about it. Students find out that distance education isn't really as mysterious as some people think it is. Students also find the use of presentation handouts useful. These guides to the daily activities help keep the students and teacher on the same page throughout the class session. They also eliminate tedious copying, allowing the student to become more involved and thinking about what's being taught. In many ways, distance education classes are pretty much like regular classes. The more involved the student is, the more he or she will learn. Outside of regular class time, there are some things that help make the classes better too, like study groups. Some distance teachers assign everyone in the class to local study groups. Students find it helpful to make friends with their classmates and study together with them. They share notes and answer each other's questions. They still do their own homework, but the study group helps them keep up. Students also find that access to the teacher outside of class is helpful. It's important for students to find out from the teacher how to do this. Some use the telephone, some use computers, while others use the distance education classroom itself. Well, Pam, I could go on, but one thing the distance education experts stress is to not try to cover too much. I hope I've helped. I really think that by taking an active role in class and by coming to class prepared, you can learn just as much when the teachers are 100 miles away as you can when they're in your own school.
Dawn, do you think that all the technology around you gets in the way of the student?
Not really. Our society is getting used to camcorders and computers more each day, especially kids. This is really more of the same thing. And even if there is some apprehension at first, it goes away after you get into the course of ways.
Dawn, thanks for joining us today and giving us the view from the other side of the instructor's console. And thank you for watching the Foundations and Applications of Distance Education.